Welcome to my channel, Bookish English. My name is Ariel, and today I want to give you something that can truly change how you learn English forever. Then continue in a soft, curious tone. Most English learners think they need more grammar, more vocabulary, or more books. But what if I told you the problem isn't in your books? It's in how you learn. You see, English isn't just a subject, it's a habit, a rhythm, a way of thinking. And once you understand that, everything starts to change. Today, I'll share something simple, something real, a lesson not from a textbook, but from life itself. This lesson can help you connect with English, feel it, and live it. So stay with me till the end, because one small idea here could open a big door in your English journey. Chapter E: The real reason you don't improve. You study hard, you memorize words, but when you speak, you freeze. Ariel's voice is soft, warm, and understanding, not as a teacher talking at you, but as a friend who has been where you are. She pauses for a moment and then says gently, "I know that feeling." You open your mouth to speak, but suddenly all the words disappear. Mind becomes blank. You think, why can't I say what I know? You studied, you practiced, you remembered so much, but when it's time to speak, nothing. This is the painful truth that many English learners carry inside them. They work hard, they study for years, but their English doesn't come alive. Why? Because most learners are learning English like a subject, not like a language. When you treat English like a subject, you sit down with a pen, a notebook, and rules. You study grammar. You repeat vocabulary lists. You memorize sentence structures. You feel good for a moment because you understand us. But when you have to use it, when you need to speak, you realize that your brain doesn't know how to turn that knowledge into speech. You're learning about English, but you're not learning to live in English. It's like learning how to swim by reading a book about water. You can know all the theories, all the techniques, all the movements, but the moment you step into the pool, you freeze. Because your body doesn't feel the water yet. It doesn't know how to move naturally. Many learners do this for years. They spend time writing grammar notes, memorizing words a day, and completing exercises. But when a real person says, "Hi, how are you?" suddenly their confidence disappears. Their heart beats fast. Their tongue doesn't move. Their mind shouts, "Say something," but their mouth says nothing. Ariel continues softly, "It's not your fault. You're not lazy. You're not bad at English. You're just learning it the wrong way. You're training your memory, not your mouth. You're training your eyes to read, not your ears to listen. You're trying to be perfect before you even start to speak." She smiles and adds, "Yup, let me tell you something powerful, King. Real improvement begins when you stop trying to be perfect and start trying to connect. When you focus on connection, English becomes lighter, easier, more human. You stop worrying about grammar mistakes. You start focusing on meaning. You start thinking, how can I make this person understand me? Instead of what is the correct sentence? That small change from perfect to connected changes everything. Ariel then shares a story. I once had a student named Rena, she begins. She studied English for more than 7 years. Yeah, she knew every grammar rule. She could write perfect essays. But every time she spoke, she froze. She told me, "Teacher, I understand everything, but I can't say anything." S- For years, she believed something was wrong with her, but nothing was wrong. She was just trapped in the wrong method. So I told her, "Rena, for 1 month, stop studying grammar. Stop memorizing words. Instead, listen, speak, feel the rhythm of English." She looked confused. She said, "But if I don't study, how will I improve?" I said, "You will study, but differently. Go not from a book, from life." So she started watching short videos in English every day. She repeated simple phrases aloud. She shadowed conversations. She didn't try to speak perfectly, she just spoke. She made mistakes, but she laughed. After a few weeks, something changed. One day, during a class discussion, she started speaking naturally, without thinking. Her face lit up with surprise. She said, "It just came out." That's when she understood English doesn't live in your notebook. It lives in your daily life. It grows when you use it. It becomes part of you when you stop studying it like math and start feeling it like music. Ariel pauses, her tone soft but filled with meaning. That's the real reason most people don't improve. They're not connected to English. They're trying to learn it with logic, but not with emotion. They're trying to memorize English, not experience it, and because of that, their brain doesn't trust the language yet. It's like planting a seed and never watering it. You can't expect it to grow. Then she leans forward slightly, her voice quiet but confident. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're not improving, it's not because you're not smart. It's because you're learning the wrong way. You need to bring English into your daily life, into your ears, your mouth, your heart. A small smile appears on her face. When you listen to English every day, your brain starts to change. When you speak even a little, your confidence grows. When you feel English, not just think about it, you begin to understand it deeply. That's when fluency begins. She pauses again, letting the message sink in. Real learning doesn't happen when you memorize. It happens when you connect, when you make English part of your feelings, your thoughts, your routine. Chapter R. The brain learns through emotion, not rules. Ariel smiles softly as the video begins. Her voice is calm and full of warmth. Your brain remembers stories, not structures. Feelings, not formulas. She pauses for a moment, letting the words settle in. You see, this is why grammar first learning doesn't work. Not because grammar is bad, grammar is important, but because your brain doesn't fall in love with grammar. It falls in love with emotion. Then she leans forward slightly, her tone almost like a whisper. Think about it. How did you learn your first language? She lets the question hang there for a moment. When you were a child, no one gave you a grammar book. No one said, "This is the past tense. This is the present perfect." You didn't memorize rules, you listened, you felt, you copied. Your mother smiled and said, "You mamma." You watched her lips. You heard her sound. You felt the love in her voice and you said it back. You mamma. That's how learning begins, through emotion. Oh, Ariel continues, her tone becoming more curious, more alive. When you were a child, every word had a feeling. You know, had a strong sound. It was serious. Felt the good job, warm and happy. Your brain remembered those feelings, not the grammar. And slowly, through emotion, sound, and repetition, you became fluent without even realizing it. She pauses and smiles softly again. But as we grow up, something changes. We stop feeling language, we start studying it. We move from curiosity to correction, from emotion to rules. And that's when learning becomes heavy, stressful, and slow. Her voice grows calm again. Many English learners sit for hours studying tenses, writing down grammar charts, memorizing irregular verbs. They think, if I just learn one more rule, I'll be fluent. Sigin, but no matter how many rules they learn, their English doesn't flow. Why? Because rules don't live in your heart, emotion does. She pauses for a second, then adds with a soft laugh, your brain is like a storyteller, not a calculator. It remembers stories, faces, sounds, and feelings, not structures and charts. When something touches your heart, your brain says, this is important, remember it. Then she gives an example. Imagine two ways of learning a sentence. Way one, you read this. I am going to the market. Present. Continuous tense. Subject plus amis is ser plus verbing. Since in way two, you watch a short video of someone happily walking to the market saying, I'm going to the market. You see the smile, you hear the tone, you feel the action. Which one do you think your brain will remember longer? Exactly, the second one, because it's full of emotion. It's alive. She looks into the camera kindly. When you enjoy what you learn, you remember faster. When you feel what you say, your words become alive. Emotion is the bridge between memory and speech. It's what makes language stick. Then Ariel gives a gentle teaching moment, something that makes the listener pause and try. Let's do a little experiment together, she says, smiling. Repeat this sentence after me. I can do it. She pauses, giving time for the viewer to repeat. Now, say it again, but this time, say it with emotion. Imagine you're telling yourself this after a hard day. Say it with energy, with belief. I can do it. Her voice rises slightly encouragingly. That's most time it was just sound. The second time it became power. When you add feeling to your words, your brain lights up. It remembers. It connects. She smiles softly again. This is how real learning happens. Not through cold rules, but through warm feelings. Not by memorizing, but by connecting. Ariel then shares another simple story, one that shows how emotion speeds up learning. I once taught a young boy named Leo, she says. He was only 5. His parents wanted him to learn English, but he didn't like the grammar lessons. He would get bored and start drawing instead. One day I tried something different. I started singing simple English songs with him, songs full of rhythm and fun. After just a few days, Leo started using the words from the songs naturally. He said things like, Whoa, let's go. Or I like apples with perfect pronunciation, not because he memorized, but because he felt the rhythm. He enjoyed it. That's how your brain works too. When you smile, when you laugh, when you feel something, your brain says, This is important. I want to keep this nigh. She continues softly, so the next time you learn English, don't just study, feel. When you listen to a story, notice how it makes you feel. When you repeat a sentence, say it with emotion. When you watch a movie, focus on the tone, the rhythm, the energy, not just the words. Then Ariel gently summarizes the heart of this lesson. Emotion is the secret ingredient. Grammar shows you the rules, but emotion gives you the fuel. Grammar can tell you how to make a sentence, but emotion makes that sentence alive. That's why children learn faster. That's why songs stay in your head. That's why you remember stories, not textbooks. She pauses one last time, her voice becoming warm and curious again. Now that you understand the power of emotion, let's take it one step further. How can we bring this feeling into your daily English? How can you train your brain to learn the way it was meant to learn through connection, curiosity, and feeling? Her tone becomes inviting, soft, but full of direction. Chapter serene, the better way, learn like you live it. Ariel begins this chapter with a calm smile and a soft voice that feels like a warm morning. English is not a subject you study, it's a life you live. She pauses, allowing those words to sink in. You see, most people treat English like homework, something they do only when they have time. But real learners, the ones who grow fast, they don't just study English. They live it. It's not something they visit for 1 hour a day. It's something that walks with them when they wake up, when they cook, when they talk to themselves, when they think. Ariel leans closer to the camera, her tone becoming a little more playful now. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say it's morning. You open your eyes. Instead of saying, yuck, I have to study English later, just start with a simple thought in English. Good morning. I feel sleepy, you see? You've already begun your English day without a textbook. She laughs softly and continues. Then, when you get out of bed, say what you're doing in English. I'm getting up, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm washing my face. You're turning your normal morning into an English class. When you make breakfast, say, I'm cooking eggs. When you make breakfast, say, I'm cooking eggs. I'm pouring tea, I'm eating slowly. When you go outside, say, I'm walking to work. I'm waiting for the bus. I'm feeling the wind. It's that simple. You're connecting English to your daily life. You're not waiting for a classroom, you're making your life the classroom. Her tone grows a bit more passionate, but still gentle and friendly. You know what happens when you do this? You train your brain to think in English naturally. You stop translating, you stop freezing, you start living in English. Every little thing becomes a chance to practice. You don't need grammar exercises. You already have life exercises. Then, she says, with a small spark in her voice, it's fun. Imagine this. You're cooking and you say to yourself, I'm cooking rice. I'm cutting onions. I'm crying because of the onions. She laughs. That's real English. You're not just speaking, You're feeling the words, you're living them. Ariel continues softly, this method works because it connects two powerful things, your real life and your language learning. When you use English in real situations, your brain understands that it's not just a subject, it's a tool, a voice, a part of who you are. She pauses thoughtfully. Many learners spend years reading grammar books silently. But real growth happens when you start using English with your voice, your body, your actions. That's what I call living English. Then she explains the key idea, input and output. There are two things your brain needs to learn any language, input and output. Input means everything that goes into your brain. Listening, reading, watching. Output means everything that comes out. Speaking, writing, expressing. The problem is most learners only focus on one. They read but don't speak. They listen but don't respond. That's like filling a bottle with water but never drinking it. Her tone becomes encouraging and warm. You need both. Listen more, that's input. Speak more, that's output. Don't just read English quietly. Speak it aloud. Don't just watch videos silently. Repeat what you hear. Your brain learns best when your ears and your mouth work together. Then Ariel gives an easy, practical idea. When you listen to English songs, don't just enjoy the melody, sing along. When you watch a short video, repeat 1 or 2 sentences. When you read something, speak it aloud slowly. Feel the sound in your mouth. This is how English becomes part of you. She adds another relatable example. Imagine this. You're cleaning your room. You say, I'm cleaning the table. I'm picking up the clothes. I'm tired but happy. Or you're walking down the street. You say, I'm walking fast. The sky is beautiful today. These are not just words, they're small steps to fluency. Each time you do it, English becomes less foreign and more natural. Her voice softens again as she adds a deeper reflection. When you live English this way, something beautiful happens. It stops feeling like a school subject. It starts feeling like a friend who walks beside you every day, in your thoughts, your sounds, your emotions. A gentle smile crosses her face. I've seen so many learners change when they start living English. They stop fearing mistakes. They start talking more freely. Their faces light up because they finally feel connected. They realize that fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about being alive in the language. Then, in her gentle teacher's tone, she summarizes the heart of the message. Ooh! Every moment in your day can be a chance to practice. When you pour tea, say, I'm pouring tea. When you close the door, say, I'm closing the door. When you sit down, say, I'm sitting down. You don't need extra time. You just need awareness. She looks thoughtful, her tone now calm and emotional. Because when English becomes part of your small moments, it stops being foreign, it becomes your friend. And that's when your real fluency begins, not in a classroom, but in your everyday life. In the quiet moments, in your thoughts, in your simple actions. She pauses for a moment, then smiles again. And the more you live in English, the more it lives in you. Then, with a spark of curiosity and excitement, she closes the chapter. But to make this work, even better, you need one powerful skill: listening deeply. Because listening is the bridge that connects your brain, your heart, and your speech. In the next chapter, I'll show you how to listen not just with your ears, but with your whole being. Chapter: Listen like a child, speak like a mirror. Ariel begins softly, her tone calm and tender, as if she's about to share a secret. When a baby learns to speak, they listen first. For months, they don't worry about grammar. They don't study vocabulary. They just listen. They listen to voices, to rhythm, to sound, to emotion. They listen to the tone of their mother's voice when she says, "It's okay." They listen to laughter, to the way people say their names, to the small words repeated again and again. Mama, Papa, yes, no. She pauses gently, and then one day, after months of listening, the baby says their first word. It's not perfect, it's not complete, but it's real. It's alive. Her voice grows a little deeper, filled with warmth. That's how all of us learned our first language, not through grammar books, not through translation, but through deep listening, through imitation, through emotion, through rhythm. Then she leans in and says kindly, "And that's exactly how you must learn English, too. You need to listen not once, not twice, but every day. You must listen not just to understand, but to feel the rhythm, the music, and the emotion behind the words." Ariel pauses to let that sink in. When you listen to English every day, something beautiful happens. Your brain starts to recognize patterns. Your mouth starts to copy naturally. You begin to feel when something sounds right, even if you don't know why. That's the magic of listening like a child. She gives a small smile. But here's the mistake most learners make. They listen like students, not like children. They listen to test themselves. Do I understand every word? Do I know this grammar? But that's not how children learn. A child doesn't understand every word. They just absorb the sound. They don't analyze, they feel. Her tone becomes encouraging, more alive. So here's what I want you to do. Every single day, listen to English just like a child. Choose something simple, something you enjoy. Watch a YouTube video with easy English. Listen to a podcast where people talk slowly. Watch a children's cartoon or a small story. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you listen daily. She gives a soft laugh and adds, "Even if you don't understand everything, it's okay. Your brain is working." It's listening to the melody of the language, to the tone, to the pauses, to how words connect. That's how your brain learns faster than any grammar rule ever could. Then Ariel's voice becomes playful, inviting the listener to join in. Let's do something right now, a small experiment. I want you to repeat one sentence you hear from me. Don't think, don't translate. "Just copy my sound," she says slowly and clearly. "I am learning every day." "Now you say it," she encourages. She waits for a few seconds. "Good, now say it again, but this time don't think about meaning. Just feel how your mouth moves, how your tongue touches your teeth, how your lips shape the sound." "I am learning every day," She repeats softly again, almost like a rhythm. That's it. That's how babies learn. That's how you train your brain, by copying sound and emotion, not rules. Her tone becomes softer, deeper. When you listen this way, you're not just learning with your mind, you're learning with your body. Your mouth, your ears, your face, they all start to work together, and little by little, English starts to flow naturally. Ariel smiles warmly. But there's one more secret I want to share. Something powerful that can completely change your confidence. It's called mirror speaking. She gestures gently as if pointing to a mirror in front of her. Here's how it works. Stand in front of a mirror. Look at yourself. Don't be afraid. You are your best speaking partner. Kank. Start speaking English with your reflection. Say simple sentences. I'm happy today. I'm learning English. I'm getting better every day. Her tone becomes full of quiet motivation. When you speak to the mirror, don't just say words. Copy your own emotion. Watch how your face moves. Watch your lips. Watch your eyes. When you smile, smile in English. When you say a happy sentence, let your face show it. When you say something calm, let your body relax. Then she adds softly, this is what I call speaking like a mirror. You're not just copying words, you're copying emotion, energy, and confidence. You're training your body to express what your words mean. She continues in a comforting tone. At first, it might feel strange. You might feel shy or even laugh a little. But that's okay. That's part of the process. Because every time you speak to your reflection, you are practicing more than just pronunciation. You're practicing courage. Courage. Ariel's eyes soften, and her voice grows gentle and emotional. When you speak to the mirror, you're not just training English, you're training confidence. You're telling yourself, I can do this. I can speak this language. I am not afraid. You start believing your own voice, and once you believe it, your English becomes alive. She pauses and lets that message sink into the listener's heart. Because language is not only about words, it's about how you feel when you speak. And when you feel brave, when you feel connected, your English starts to sound natural. It starts to sound you. Her voice then grows calm again, ready to guide the listener forward. So remember this, listen like a child, without pressure, without fear, without judgment. Copy what you hear. Feel the rhythm. And then speak like a mirror, with emotion, with confidence, with love for your own voice. A small smile appears on her lips as she closes the chapter. When you do this every day, you begin to change. Your ears open, your words flow, your voice becomes stronger. English stops being something you study and starts being something you live. And now, she says softly, with gentle anticipation in her voice, let's talk about the thing that decides how fast you grow your daily habit. Tao Chapter Wove, small daily lesson, big change, Chibad past words. Most people fail not because they can't learn, but because they stop too soon. That's how Ariel begins, with a soft but firm voice, the kind that feels like a warm hand on your shoulder. Think about it, she continues. How many times have you started learning English with excitement? You downloaded new apps, bought notebooks, promised yourself, this time I'll do it. But after a few weeks, you stopped, not because you didn't care, not because you weren't smart enough, but because you expected too much too fast. Ariel smiles gently. The truth is, English doesn't need big effort once. It needs small effort every day. She pauses for a moment and says slowly, 5 minutes every day is stronger than 2 hours once a week. Because your brain loves rhythm. It learns from habit, not from pressure. Then she gives a simple example. When you brush your teeth, you don't think, oh, I must brush perfectly today. Yes. You just do it small, daily, without stress. The same is true for learning English. Wyatt, the power of daily consistency, Ariel leans in a little closer and says, let me show you how small daily lessons create big change. She takes out a small notebook from her table and opens it. On the first page, she reads aloud, I listened for woo minutes. I spoke for woo minutes. I read one paragraph. I wrote one line. That's it. She smiles. Just this. No pressure. No big goals. But this student did it every day for loose days. And do you know what happened? A small sparkle in her eyes. She didn't just learn English. She lived it. Her confidence grew. Her sentences flowed naturally, and her fear disappeared. Your mini daily plan. Ariel picks up a whiteboard and writes slowly. Listen woo minutes. Every morning or night, listen to something small. A short podcast, a slow YouTube video, or even this channel. Bambi. Don't try to understand every word. Just let English enter your ears. Let your brain relax and feel the rhythm. Speak, woo minutes, repeat what you heard, copy it, shadow it. Don't translate, just move your mouth. Your goal is not perfection, it's motion. When you move your mouth daily, English stops being strange. It starts becoming natural. Read a paragraph. Choose something simple, a story, a blog, or subtitles. Read out loud. Read slowly. Reading trains your tongue and your mind together. See it write. Line. It can be anything. A short reflection like, today I learned a new word, or I listened to a story. Writing helps you remember and express your thoughts clearly. She looks at the camera and adds softly, this small plan takes less than Urser's minutes. But it's powerful because it trains all 4 skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, every day. Let's spike the real student example. Then Ariel shares a real story. One of my students, Amir, was an engineer. He worked all day and had no time to study English for hours. He told me, Ariel, I can't do it like others. I'm just too busy. I said, Ymir, give me sure minutes. Every day, no excuses, he agreed. Every morning, while drinking his tea, he listened to one English story. Then, while driving to work, he repeated 1 or 2 sentences. At night, before sleeping, he read 1 short paragraph and wrote 1 simple line in his notebook. After 3 months, he came to me smiling. He said, Ariel, something strange happened. I started thinking in English. I didn't plan it, it just happened. And that's the power of small daily lessons. You grow without pressure. You change without noticing. You become fluent not because of time, but because of consistency. That's a motivation, progress, not perfection. Ariel leans back and speaks with emotion. Fluency is not luck. It's repetition. It's love for the process. You don't need to speak perfect English. You just need to keep going, little by little. When you repeat something every day, your brain begins to trust it. It says, "Oh, this is important. Let's remember it." That's how new habits are born. She smiles softly. If you skip a day, don't feel guilty. Just return the next day because English is like a plant. If you water it daily, it grows. If you forget one day, it still remembers your care. Zia, the emotional ending, Ariel's tone becomes almost whisper-like. Every small effort matters. Every sentence you speak, every word you repeat, every video you listen to, they are all small drops in your English ocean. One day you'll look back and realize what once felt impossible has become easy. You'll smile when you speak. You'll understand without translating. And you'll say, "I did it one small lesson at a time." She looks into the camera with warmth. Remember this, your success is not built in a day. It's built daily, dat buyer transition. Ariel closes her notebook gently. You now understand the secret of small, daily lessons. But there's one more thing that decides how fast you grow. It's not your books, not your memory, it's your belief. The way you see yourself. She pauses and smiles softly. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the most powerful lesson of all, believing in yourself. Because when your heart believes, your mouth begins to speak freely. Dabby in chapter lig, believe you can learn chi bite puzz words. Ariel begins softly, her voice almost like a whisper. Calm, gentle but full of care. Every learner has a moment when they want to quit. She pauses. You know that feeling when you study for days, repeat sentences, watch videos, but still feel like nothing is changing. No, you listen, but you don't understand everything. You speak, but the words don't come out the way you want. And then something inside you says, maybe I'm just not good at English. A small, compassionate smile appears on her face. My friend, I understand. You're not alone. Every English learner feels this way at some points. Even the ones who speak fluently now, they once thought of quitting too. Revealing the emotional truth. Ariel continues softly. You compare yourself to others, to that person who speaks so fast, or that YouTuber who sounds like a native, and you think, I'll never be like them. I'm too old. I'm too slow. My memory is bad. My accent is wrong. She shakes her head gently. But that's not true. You see, the problem is not your age or your speed. It's your belief. The moment you stop believing you can learn, your brain stops trying. But when you start believing again, something powerful happens. Ariel leans forward slightly, her eyes filled with warmth. Let me tell you a story, she says. There was a student named Maria. She was years old when she joined my English class. She had tried many times before, apps, grammar books, even expensive courses. But every time she quit after a few months, she told me, Ariel, Maybe English just isn't for me. I'm too old to remember things. Sings. I looked at her and said, You Maria, do you remember how to cook your favorite meal? She laughed. Of course. I've cooked it for years. Then I said, You exactly. You remember it because you lived it, not because you studied it. You can do the same with English if you live it, not fear it. That day, Maria decided to start small, 2 minutes every morning. She listened to English while making breakfast. She repeated short sentences while cleaning her room. And every time she felt lost, she reminded herself, I can learn. I can grow. I'm not too late. Months passed. One day, she called me with tears in her voice. Ariel, she said, I just spoke to my daughter in English for 5 whole minutes, and I didn't even think in my language first. That's the power of belief. She didn't find a new method. She found a new mindset. The science of belief. Ariel sits back and speaks gently but clearly. Your brain listens to your thoughts. When you say, I can't, your brain believes you. It stops trying. But when you say, I can, your brain opens up. It starts searching for ways to help you. So if you want to learn faster, start with this. Change your words to yourself. She gives a small example. Instead of saying, I can't understand this, say, I don't understand it yet. Instead of saying, I'm bad at speaking, say, I'm learning to speak better every day. That one small word, yet, turns your failure into a journey. It tells your brain, we're not done. We're growing. Spike, the motivational climax. Ariel's tone grows stronger now, full of energy and encouragement. Listen to me. You are not too late. You are not too slow. You are not bad at English. You are becoming fluent step by step with every single word you speak. Do you know what real fluency is? It's not perfect grammar. It's not sounding like a native speaker. It's the courage to keep speaking even when you make mistakes. It's the heart to say, I'm learning and I'm proud of myself. Every time you listen, you grow. Every time you repeat, you train your mouth. Every time you speak, even one sentence, you move forward. So never say, I can't, because you can. You already are. She looks into the camera, eyes shining, and adds, The world doesn't need your perfect English. It needs your brave English, your real human English that comes from your heart. You closing with warmth, Ariel's voice softens again. My dear friend, remember this. You don't need perfect English. You just need courage, curiosity, and consistency. Courage to start again even after failing. Curiosity to keep learning even when it feels slow. Consistency to keep walking even when it's hard. She smiles. She smiles softly. Every word you speak is one step closer. Every sentence you say brings you nearer to the person you want to become. So keep walking, keep believing. You can learn, you will learn. And one day you'll look back and say, I did it. I believed, and that belief changed everything. She pauses for a moment, letting the silence carry the message. Then, with a warm smile, she says, Now, take a deep breath. Say this with me, I can learn English. I am learning English. I will speak English, because your journey doesn't end here. It begins every single day you believe. If this lesson touched your heart, don't just close this video. Take one small action today. Even the smallest one matters. Speak one sentence out loud. Listen to 1 minute of English. Write one short line from your heart. Because every small step you take becomes a big change tomorrow. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to begin. And if you want more lessons like this, real lessons that make you feel English, live English, and believe in yourself again, then subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with a friend who needs the same encouragement. Before you go, tell me in the comments, what is one small English habit you will start today? Because here, we don't just learn English, we live it, step by step, word by word. Together,